What is up, sexy people of the internet? It is Dave. It is Duncan. He's there, back for another album review.
We're being silly because there's no way to approach this serious.
There's no.
We have to approach it serious because it's seriously musically great. But
serious. We are back check out the new album from North Carolina progressive metal band Between the Buried and
North Cadillac, Dave. That's what they call it.
Okay.
They do, like, if you've not been, let's see, you don't know. I was almost there.
North Cadillac, did you say?
Cadillac.
Cadillac.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, like the car.
Yes. Yes. I'm sure that's it's gonna be a silly review.
This is all.
If you are someone that has happened upon this because you love this band and you're like, these guys are reviewing the new album. Wait, this video was 40 minutes long. I'm calling it. I'm Babe Ruthing it. 40 minutes. If you're like that, maybe these guys will intellectually stimulate my anus with their review. I'm just going to tell you right now, chances of that happening, slim to none. Like, this is review number 3 tonight, and we've saved the best for last. However, I will say this, I would argue that when it comes to qualifications on reviewing a Between the Buried and Me album before 2025, Dave's your guy, right? Like, in 2025, all fucking bets are off. All bets are off.
I knew they were from North Cadillac.
That's not what I meant. Like, location, no, I meant as in the timbre of the music, Dave. A little bit of the temperament, their stylistic choices, their whiz, their waz, their din, their bam, their bing, their bong, their yin, their yang. You are the man to discuss those things. But like a lot of that has been like, well, a lot of that, like, it's the end of Indiana Jones where they put, you go into the basement, it's all like wooden cases. I get a feeling that a lot of the discography is went into a case and shoved somewhere by the CIA, and then a new box has been opened and a German man's face melts. That's full circle. I kind of feel like we need to be this scatty and this kind of off the wall and this crazy to discuss the Blue Nowhere, which I'm sure you were getting to 3 minutes into this review.
Released September 12 via InsideOutMusic.
Have they always been on Inside Out? This is... No. Is this the first album on Inside Out?
This is the first one on Inside Out.
When you sign a contract with Inside Out, are they like that? How prog is your prog? And they're like, well, it's. I don't want to have to drop my pants, but I think it's pretty proggy. And they're like that. We're gonna need you to drop your pants. Show me the prog. And they're like that. It's not quite my prog tempo. This is like if J.K. Simmons was like the purveyor of prog and not jazz. Is it his time? Who knows? What is his time? Prog, right? So like the great label.
Great label.
This album makes 100% sense with this label. However, going on their back catalogue, this album throws questions. So give me the press statement, Dave.
Here we go. 25 years and 10 albums into a storied career, progressive metal visionaries Between the Buried and Me return with their most immersive and eclectic record yet. The Blue Nowhere, their first on InsideOutMusic, mixing uncharted musical detours with their distinctive aggressive identity, the band create a conceptual world unlike anything in their incredible catalogue, inviting the listener to experience the journey on their own terms. Through the story takes place in a hotel. The Blue Nowhere don't expect haunted corridors or characters behind every door. It's more of a feeling, those moments where you feel alone in the world and you're reflecting, and that process you're finding out new things about yourself and your place in the world. Frontman Tommy Rogers clarifies, existing in a space where no one can find you as you're hidden from all forms of reality. That's the Blue Nowhere. The music was meticulously constructed, mostly remotely, in a process similar to their last album, Colours 2. About 95% of it was written remotely from one another, says Rogers. Tommy Rogers, Paul Wagner, Dan Briggs and Blake Richardson shared early demos to align moods before diving into song construction. Produced by longtime collaborator Jamie King, then mixed by Jens Bogren. The Blue Nowhere is also the first BT Bam album to feature an extensive string and horn section. The idea was spearheaded by Dan Briggs, who pulled together an orchestra of friends to play on the album, including Ray Hearn of Haken, who plays tuba on Slow Paranoia. Between the Buried and Me remain allergic to stagnation, and the Blue Nowhere proves their creative drive is stronger than ever. It feels like a natural evolution for the band, says Rogers. We're not repeating ourselves. We're lucky to have a fan base that's along for the ride. Welcome to the Blue Nowhere. So, BT Bam are back after 4 years and the release of Colours 2, which I really liked. Just putting this out here, my favourite BT Bam album ever, Colours. I mean, it's
a great album.
Masterpiece.
It's a great album. Masterpiece as he struggled. Like, you've always been the bigger Between the Buried and Me fan.
Yeah.
Like, to me, I've always found them like musically excellent, but to me, there's always a bit where there's always something in that album where I disconnect a little bit. And that's always been there. So I've never been as committed to being able to say the words like, you know, like on a different level, operating above their peers, you know, masterpiece. Never quite been in my lexicon.
Right.
But
Okay.
I've always appreciated them, and we've seen them live, and they can back it up live. They are. Fuck, we have seen them live.
We have, yeah.
Tuts.
Yep.
Yes, right. I was like, job for a cowboy. Like we saw them, and they can back it up live. They are fucking incredible, right?
Yeah.
So they can't. Whoever's on the album is what you're getting live.
Yeah.
Which makes me even more excited for this.
I mean, I think like, yeah. I mean, I love Colours. I mean, it was always going to be difficult to outdo that album. Even if you do try and entice me by calling it Colours 2, you know what I'm saying?
Well, that's a bold move. Can you imagine like Deaf Heaven going like that? Oh, you know what? We're just going to do Sunbather Twa. You know, like, well, what? Well, it'd be Do, not Twa. Twa's 3. The joke is all falling apart because of alcohol, Dave. But you know what I mean? That's a ballsy move.
I don't think they have a bad album, me personally.
Define bad.
Like...
As in something unlistenable? No.
No, they don't.
I think there are albums where they're... musically, I don't think they have a bad album. I think connection-wise for me, I think there are albums that connect more with me and others that are a bit more cold.
Yeah. I get that as well, yeah, for sure. I think like even their very early stuff, like it was
still
like,
super interesting,
much rawer and like unfiltered, but still has like these moments of greatness. I feel like there's always something to appreciate on a Between the Buried and Me album. They're also long bastards, so very rarely do you get an album under an hour from Between the Buried and Me. So it's like one of those like listening experiences you need to be ready for. Like get a drink, get a snack, grab a pillow, find something to pee in, because you're in for the long haul here. You know what I mean?
I love that you're still using like raw wired connection here, and you can't just pee while listening through your wireless head. No. There will be issues if we go wireless with this, right?
I am not raising from my seat during this. This is 71 minutes long, Duncan.
Oh yes, hello. Hello.
Woo. Yeah, that's 71 minutes. That is.
That is, Dave. You know what? That is an hour and 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Or 71 minutes. Or let's calculate it in seconds. 71 times. No, we're not doing that.
Yeah. Let's not. Like this is one of those albums I don't even know where to.
Yeah. Can we say that I don't think anyone out with someone doing a detailed track by track breakdown over the full hour and 11 minutes, which I argue is not interesting to a listener unless you want, I don't know, the band talk. The only way you benefit was if the band were talking about it, like in a commentary, like you would get in like a fucking Kubrick movie, explaining the ins and outs. You're not going to get that here.
Yeah.
And I will say this is at times, probably from a review point of view, the most impenetrable album to review, but the one I am most excited about to talk, which doesn't make any sense because those kind of feel like they should be butting heads against each other. But
what I would say is when I heard the first single,
yes,
I'm going to start there.
Opening track, which was 8 minutes long, and we were both like, if there's a way to if there's a holes enough to shag this track, I'm fucking it. Yeah?
I mean,
yes.
In other words, yes.
In other words, yes, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't think. I think it's probably the most excited I'd been for like a new Between the Buried album. Between the Buried, I'm just going to say BT Bam. It's easier to say.
Yeah.
A new BT Bam album in a long time.
Yeah.
Even Colours 2, I was like, I love Colours, but I was like, come on, Colours 2, are you serious? And it was still good, but let's move past that. I did not expect that first track to be like evoking bands like fucking Duran Duran or In Excess or like
Level 42, Dave!
Level 42 or like maybe like early 80s, yes, okay, I could see that from BT Bam, but
yes, Dave.
And like
yes.
and funky Duncan.
Full on funk.
Funky Duncan.
We bring the funk. Gotta bring that funk.
I just like when I heard that, I was like, this is fucking great. This has got me excited for the Blue Nowhere. Even the arrangement kind of threw me off. I was like, I mean, it does have like moments of that BT Bam chaos for sure. Like it's heavy rhythmically, but also like has these pop qualities that are like quite simple in their placement, but had me singing along. I was like, what the fuck? I was not expecting it. But it did have me super excited for what else this album might bring. And my God, this album brings a lot, Duncan. It brings a lot.
It's a kitchen sink album, you know
yes,
what I mean?
It is.
Yes, the very definition of... you brought that with you. We had a kitchen sink. Oh, no, not this kitchen sink.
A follow-up track of God Terror was maybe not what I was envisaging coming on this album.
Hello.
But... I mean, I suppose at the same time, that's the beauty of a BT Bam album. Like, they are so eclectic and so good as songwriters and musicians that they can literally take you anywhere the fuck they want and not have to really worry about it if the fans are going to embrace it, because they almost expect things to be weird or unexpected. And God Terror is a complete jump from... Things We Tell Ourselves in the Dark, the opening track, into like industrial prog or something. Like what even is this? Like weird electronics, industrial like drum beats, like sinister kind of effect laden vocals.
The word awesome is missing from what you're saying here. Right? Well, why is it missing?
To be honest, when it first kicked in, I was like, oh, wait a minute.
Duncan's gonna love this.
Yes. But I was also like, we went from here on that like prog, 80s prog epic opener, and I'm like, right, okay, so we're not getting a full album of that. We're going in a different direction here. It's a much darker track overall. And I was kind of on the edge. I was like, okay, I'm not sure like what to make of this. And then right at the end of the track, they totally redeemed themselves. So like a big, nasty, discordant fucking riff comes right in at the end, and I'm back. My smile is back. I am like, this is BT Bam at their most ugly and their most savage. Like, so like, although the track began in a place I was like not totally expecting and a little unsure of, coming off that big opener, it ends in spectacular fashion. Like, I was back in. I was like, all right, okay, I'm back. And to be honest, as I listened to the album, that track, I've become more on board with that track. The more
it makes more sense. Contextually in the album, it makes more sense.
Yeah. But I feel like that those first two tracks are kind of the blueprint for this album. Like, I lost count how many times I said, where the fuck is this going? Like, and then 5 minutes later, my mouth is open. Like it's just it's from one place to another. You're like, what? And some of it is classic. Some of it is BT Bam, like the 10-minute epics that they take you through, and they show every side and every shape of the band. I think there's a lot in there that, you know, a lot of the old school fans will absolutely love. You can hear a lot of that coming through. Absent Thereafter is a perfect example of that utter fucking madness, where this moment of bluesy honky tonk rock comes in, and you're just like, what? And then like it also touches on like almost like progressive death metal at the same time. Like it's like the band Extreme had actually gone extreme, if you know what I mean, on that track. It's like
the most misnamed band of all time is the band Extreme. Because like anyone that hasn't listened to them before, like that, this is like my goal this year is to get into Extreme. So they start listening to like like Anal Nathrak and Cannibal Corpse, and they finally get to Extreme and like that. I overdressed for this occasion here. Like I got my knob pierced, like I got like chains that hooked to my nipples. I've overdone this. Like I should have just wore a fedora. I would have been fine.
Yeah, I mean that track is just everything. Like it's like there's bits of brass in there.
Oh yes.
It has like a fucking jazz hands ending. Like it is wild, absolutely wild. But I'm also here for it, Duncan. And the album just continues to take you on countless wild rides. Like whether that's getting really proggy and weird on tracks like Door, but even though like it can be quite eccentric and contorted, I feel like they've done a really good job of placing and constructing the melodic vocals on this album to give it a little bit of accessibility. Like Door has some like straight up like dog fashion disco type fucking organ on there, right?
You're stealing my notes.
Sorry. There's flamenco guitar on there. But they always like bring you back to some form of reset, like either in the vocals where Tommy is giving you these like fucking amazing cleans, or something really fucking heavy and like kind of old school BT Bam. They know exactly how to kind of level you out, and like when you get that feeling, you're like, this is getting a little bit overwhelming, and then they're like, oh no, it's all right, hold on a little second here, let me just throw this in here, and you're like, oh right, okay, like now I'm back. Tracks like Psychomantium, or like Slow Paranoia, again really showcase that. Like both over 11 minutes could easily have become like a bowl of riff spaghetti, but those little kind of like 4/4 grooves they add in, or like a quieter kind of melodic part, it gives you that kind of breathing room on the track. You're like, all right, okay. Now I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this. There were parts in Slow Paranoia which maybe overstepped the line for me and like took me to a place where I was like, oh wait a minute.
This is the Last Taken album review all over again with you, where you're like that. There's a bit where they're like, it's kind of like that scene from Dumbo where they're at the circus, and I don't know if I can deal with that.
It's like a Viennese waltz or something like they go into, and I was just like,
yes it is, Dave.
Whoa, sweet child of mine, like what are we doing here? Like what? So I mean, like I do have like a level myself where I'm like, ooh, I don't know if I'm going to go there. You know, the quirkiness becomes a bit too much. But then like coming off of that, you go into the title track, which is like this kind of yacht rock kind of ballad.
Yes, Dave.
Again, with like very like kind of pop sensibilities about it, especially vocally. So like throughout this album, stylistically, tonally, expect it to give you a real like a handful of like whiplash kind of moments where you are just mystified at how you get from one place to another in the space of a track. Some of the wildest switches I've heard from this band are on this release. So like on that front, I applaud them for being able to do something still like so new and refreshing, even at 25 years into their career, and they're still pulling off shit like this is kind of insane. I also think vocally this could be some of Tommy's best work I've heard. His voice on this is incredible. the stylistic switches are what really caught me though. Like from those like pop prog kind of melodies to like weird and eccentric into like full on kind of death metal gutturals. The transitions are seamless, but it makes it sound so easy. It's just an incredible voice, and just executed perfectly on this album. His vocals are a real highlight on here. I enjoyed an immense amount of this. It's very impressively done. Musicianship is insane, like just off the charts. The songwriting is nuts. The moving parts of each track are just so cleverly pieced together here. There was a couple of moments maybe I felt like there was a shift too far just for me, and it kind of took me out of the album a little bit. The quirk is real on this release, so
the quirk is real.
It might depend on how much of that you like in your music, but like even when it's doing some of the wildest shit, it's hard not to be impressed with how they pull it off. I could still appreciate the mechanics of it, even if it like stylistically it doesn't always kind of gel with me. Production of the album is excellent. Like I listened back to Colours 2, and there's a very similar kind of production between these two albums. I think that the guitars are a touch sharper on this album. Drums are a little bit snappier as well, but it's kind of close. Same guy that produced it, but again, they very rarely have like a bad production. Like it's for the last like 7 albums that the production's been great. Jamie King really knows the band inside out. He knows how to accentuate like all the best parts of the band and the recordings. So I mean, there it is, like wham bam, BT bam.
Boo this man! Can we get some comments time coded to that bit? Boo! Like thumbs down.
I feel like there's like so much more like detail you can go into here with this album. I don't think you could fully put it across in a review.
I don't even think the band could fully do justice to what's on here. So,
can you put this into words, Duncan? Try and tell me what you think of this.
No, what I will say is I think this might be one of those occasions where the imaginary line that separates like our level of extremity has crossed over from the Dave side to the Duncan side.
Maybe.
I think they, like you mentioned, Dog Fashion Disco. I don't write notes, but it was a mental note for me. I love Dog Fashion Disco, right? Mm-hmm. Dave is tolerant of Dog Fashion Disco.
Yeah.
And the reason you're tolerant, and you're always honest with it, you're like that. At its core, I dig it, I like it, and then there's that one element that comes in the band does, and as soon as it hits, I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like that. They could do anything. They could give me a check for £1 million at the end of this track, but because they played like fucking the Jewish harp, the mouth harp, and like, and that's it. At that point, I was like, no, it's an instrument too far. Fuck yous. Like there's always been that element from my point of view. Like I'm more forgiving of just weirdness. I've always been more like to me, the more you show quirk, the more excited I get. Even if it doesn't work, I'm like, you went there, you at least swung and tried. Between the Buried and Me, we obviously did it in the kind of precursor to the review, are a band that are heavily revered for that reason. I think they are I think a lot of bands now that do the kind of transition into the kind of proggy thing from the gent side or the fucking like the kind of more avant-garde metal side. Without a band like Between the Buried and Me, that transition into that would feel like a more extreme jump.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? They kind of almost set a groundwork of like these bands can be anywhere, but via us, this makes sense. And I've always respected them for that, for the songwriting, the way it's delivered. The song choices have always been really interesting. But like I say, like to me, their focus on the heavier side always kind of, there was that one something that would be like, oh, well, it was almost a perfect song, but it's not now. So they've now transitioned over at the prog world, which I want to stress once again, and we've said this before on every prog review. Me and Dave are not prog fans. Like, you will be like, if you're a prog fan, you will be able to fucking school us. You'll be able to fucking tear down our pants and steal our lunch money. Like, that's how little we have an interest in prog. But recently, we've delved in there, and what we've heard, we've loved. Like the good stuff. I'm going to say the good stuff. A lot of shit there. That's not. So when I'd heard the things we tell ourselves in the dark, months ago now, when that dropped and we both were texting about it, when it got to the end, I was like, right, there's a change here. There is a movement, and this movement is the most excited I've been about something from Between the Buried and Me that I've heard yet. Because I know musically they've got the chops, right? Yep. That's never been the question. It's, can they do something in a song from front to back that has me like every single element fucking slaps? And that track fucking slapped. So at that point, I think somewhat yourself, anything that came after that track in the pre-release was like, not listening. Like, no, you didn't release it. So I've been holding off. I've been mentally preparing myself for this, and mentally preparing is what I needed to do. I think you sent it over last week. I didn't listen to this until Sunday, so like a couple of days before our recording date here, which by the time this comes out was weeks ago or maybe yesterday. I don't know. I don't know how Dave does things, but it was a couple of days after he sent it through. And the reason I listened to it on a Sunday was like very simple to yourself. I'm like that. I need a quiet room. I need a quiet space. Yeah. I need the good headphones. And I need to get through this hour and 10 minutes this is a one and done listen, right? This is not we're going to hit pause, we're going to fix a couple, we're going to do the whole thing in its entirety. And I got to the end of the first listen, and I did do the thing. Don't do it often with albums on the first listen, but I did do the like I literally got to the end of this just like post-coital orgasmic glow, covered in my own dried spunk. I was like, yes, this is the Blue Nowhere. No, I genuinely got to the end of this and was just like musically spent. I don't think on Sunday I listened to any other musical. There was no other song. It was like this was like, as soon as I listened to this album, it was done for the day. And then I've come back to it. Due to its length, it's been a 4 listen for me, no more than that. Which I still feel I'm ill-equipped to talk about musically how great this album is. I think you could do 10 on this and you'd still be like, you'd forget a piano part or a brass section. Or what I will say about the album is I think the band to me has shown the promise. I think has always been there, right? To me, I think they were daring to do more of the prog, but not like it almost felt like what you got from them was a quirk on top of the metal music that we're playing, where I kind of feel like that paradigm has shifted, and the metal is now the quirk that you get on top of the prog. Yeah. And I actually think they're much more, at this stage of their career and musicianship, they're much more suited in that realm. Same way that you listened to that last Tesseract album, you were like, I get why this wasn't album number 1 for you guys, because people wouldn't have been in the ground floor. You almost had to educate people across those albums to get to that album. I feel like Between the Buried and Me has almost had to educate their fans to make this jump. And I actually think a lot of them, I would argue most of them will jump into the Blue Nowhere and get it. There will not be there won't be things where people are like, well, you've lost me now. I think there will be the occasional element like yourself as a like kind of a more established fan where like that. I don't know if I necessarily gel with that, but I respect the musicianship in it. Thing about this is every genre they put on here, every like instrument change is executed flawlessly. Yeah. Like, not like right, this is how people do rockabilly, so we're gonna like, it's like, that almost feels like that's what the band play. It's so weird that it's handled. So the next thing I can get into is when we talked about Ishan last year, and we were like that. at this stage, if he played an oboe, I wouldn't be surprised. Is that way where you just felt like he had a master craft on everything, every instrument, every genre that he had in that. I kind of feel the same way here. I kind of feel like all the switches almost feel like the band at one point played that.
Yeah.
It's so bizarre. The songwriting and the musicianship on this album is unfucking real. Some of the guitar work, some of the lead work on this is fucking jaw dropping, and it's produced so. It's so clean. It's so clean. You could eat your dinner off it. It's so fucking clean. You could eat your dinner off it, not wipe, and eat your dinner a week later off the same surface and not get E. coli. Is that fucking clean?
Yeah.
The runtime for me, like looking at it like an hour and 11 minutes, it may seem as daunting. I actually think this flows, like it doesn't feel like an hour and 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, to me, even on the first listen, I was like, I've lost time here. Like, it kind of feels like it's the alien abduction of Between the Buried and Me albums, and that time doesn't feel like it's passed at all, yet you've got to the end of it. The other thing I would say is the inclusion of the real brass instrumentation, like the orchestral stuff, is fucking sublime. Now, I don't know how much of that is them dictating to other musicians play this, actually handing notation over, or how much of that is a collaborative process of here's the track, what would you play over it? I would say either way it fits like a fucking glove. Is excellent. Vocally, I think this is my favourite Between the Buried and Me vocal performance here. It's interesting, the aggressive vocals are not as good as previous ones. There's kind of almost that kind of, I know for a fact if we decided to go into a band practice tomorrow, there's no way I'm doing what I did a decade ago. I can't, my voice has changed too much.
Yeah.
I can't do, and there kind of feels like there's a weatheredness to that screamy tone, where it's a bit more like the kind of like that thing like people do to supplant that. But I think it's been transferred into the dexterity of the melody. Like the range here is fucking nuts. Like even on like certain tracks, the way he rattles up and rattles down scales is just mind blowing.
Yeah.
It's like across the board, like everything, like the attention to all detail, whether it's a ragtime piano, a kind of bluesy guitar hook, brass sections, something that feels like you should have your toes in wet sand to listen to. Across the board, it just delivers, and it continues to deliver track on track. I'm going to put out here, The Blue Nowhere is my favourite Between the Buried and Me album.
Wow.
I think this is the best thing the band's done. It just required them to maybe give up a little bit of the metal and give me a little bit more of the quirk. But to me, I've already heard a couple of stellar prog albums this year. This is my favourite prog album I've heard this year.
Wow.
I think this is absolute front to back. I think this is absolutely fucking incredible. So, who would have known that they just have to change their sound to win me over? But yeah, see tomorrow if they said they were touring just this album, but tickets were like £70, I would pay that without even worrying about what my wife said when the card statement came in. I would do it, like without even thinking. So I would also be surprised to see how they would be able to do this all live, but I'm sure they have a plan. Yeah, this is really fucking good, Dave. It's really fucking good.
Final thing, scores for The Blue Nowhere. Yeah, so this is where shit gets real. I probably unfairly compare every BT Bam album to Colours. Like, it is the benchmark for me. For me, it is their magnum opus. There's something about that album that just hits me in my soul.
Yep.
There's an emotional kind of vulnerability to that album that is just unbelievable. And I think like vocally this is great. I do think it's the most impressive thing he's done vocally. I don't think it's the most emotional thing he's done vocally. I think Colour still kind of has that box ticked. But I feel like it's great to hear these guys still pushing the envelope this far into their career. Does it reach the same levels of magnificence as that album? No, and that album is special. That being said, the things they do on this album are fucking nuts. So I couldn't rate it any lower than a 4.5. That would just be a travesty. But I couldn't give it the same score as Colours. Just for me, it's on a different place. But I imagine this will probably still end up in a lot of end of year lists. Is that good? So it's a 4.5 for me. Duncan, this is the best prog album you've heard this year.
Yes, and I've already given out a lofty 5 already to our friends in Ockrust.
Yeah.
Even though you were non-committal on that. So I'm going to say that when it comes to grades, I got 5 on it. Cue the fucking thing that explodes. Boom. Yeah, this is, to me, is the flawless album front to back. I adore this. This is my jam. Between the Buried and Me. Don't look back in anger, because they're terrible. Just look forward. And if this is the direction of travel, I am there for it. And this is like, man, I'm being more excited about a band 25 years into their career than I am right now. I kind of feel like all bets are off in the next album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? How exciting is that?
Yeah, very much.
So yeah, like a big old 5.
5 from Duncan. So that is the Blue Nowhere, out on September 12th on Inside Out Music. Check out the links to the band, the pre-order, have a listen, see what you think. Really just have even if you're not like the biggest fan, this is an experience. So definitely give it a shot.
This might be how, like, I get a feeling they, like, on the label they're on, because of the eclectic nature, there are people out there that are hardcore Inside Out listeners. You know what I mean? That's what they do. This is going to be, I imagine, their first introduction to Between the Buried and Me, and I actually am very excited to hear how people will go back in the catalogue on that, because, like I said before, musically, you can't negatively judge them. They're so fucking impressive. But if this is your starting point, by God, do you have an exciting journey of extremity ahead of you right now over 25 years? Fuck me. Yep. So
there it is. That is the review. Thank you for checking out. Much appreciated. We'll be back with another review very soon. But until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone.
This place is a plan. Nothing on the way. Situation